Are you tired? I'm a little exhausted. So, just did the every other day 8K run. I've brought it down to 8 kilometers. I was doing 10K for many years, but I decided lately to lighten up on the cardio a bit. I know now if I needed to, I could run 20 if I pace myself. The point of this video isn't to brag about me and Marshall's physical fitness or devotion to. Rather, it's to reiterate a principle I've talked about before. Alright, so I had to bring the video inside because I made the video out there and I put it into the editor and the whole thing was drowned out by Marshall's increasingly louder and louder panting. So I got to do the video again in here. What's worse, I just did the video and the thing didn't record. Anyway, so where to start? Because I've already done this video twice. But the 1 to 100 principle. Okay, so think about it this way. 1 hour invested in anything right now, in any activity, is worth 100 hours when the power is not out. When these lights are on, almost any possible thing you can do is going to be 100 times easier. In some cases, thousands of times easier than when these lights go out, if they go out. So take, for example, food. 1 hour of work, whether maybe you make 20 bucks an hour, maybe it's 2 hours of work for some people if you make 10 bucks an hour. You take that 20 bucks, you go buy a 40-pound bag of rice. That 40-pound bag of rice, 60,000 calories. You know how much man hours you would have to do to actually get the equivalent of that if there was no modern technology, if there was no gasoline to put in the tractors and the combines? I mean, one run on a combine on a quarter section would probably equate to hundreds of man hours of work, possibly thousands. I don't know exactly, but that's a lot of food that can be harvested with gasoline. Without gasoline, things are 100 if not 1,000 times worse. So 1 hour invested while the getting's good, while the lights are on, equates to 100 hours of pain and suffering when the getting gets bad. This principle applies to everything. Say you are a blacksmith, or you're not a blacksmith, even worse, and you want to make a knife out of a piece of metal. Well, to forge that knife into a piece of metal is going to take you many, many hours, probably much longer if you're not experienced, of course, and you're not going to do as good of a job of it. But you can go and buy yourself a Mora knife for 20 bucks and that's it. Be done with it. Take that 1 hour of labor compared to 10, maybe 20, probably 30 hours if you want to do it really good, than it would take to make that knife in the absence of technology. Let's look at the example of physical fitness. 1 hour invested in cardiovascular exercise not only is going to probably prolong your life by 7 to 8 hours just in doing that cardiovascular exercise and not replacing that hour with consuming food, which is not good for you, or just having a sedentary hour. But not only that, that 1 hour of cardio that you do could potentially mean the difference between being able to save somebody in time, in a case of emergency. So that could be a lot more than 100 hours. That could be living with something for the rest of your life. And this is not just messing around. I mean, if you can't run the 3 blocks that it's going to take to get somebody out of harm's way, or whatever the case might be, or even to save yourself, then clearly you miscalculated in investing your time. For people like me who are workaholics, 1 hour of sleep is a huge investment because that leads to 3, 4, 5 hours of productivity. 1 hour of research on the internet where you have every possible piece of information known to man at your disposal. Well, not every piece of information, but most of it at your disposal. The amount of time it would take you to get all that information, even if you had the most up-to-date encyclopedias, would take you hundreds of hours, if not thousands of hours, if you didn't have those encyclopedias, through trial and error, learning all these things over and over again. So there's no better example than that than information. What about medicine? One little $20 bottle of fish antibiotics may just save your life.
And I'm not giving you medical advice. You can go do the research on it. You know, Dr. Bones talks all about the potential utility of fish antibiotics. A $20 bottle of fish antibiotics could mean the difference between life and death, especially in a society which is wholly dependent on antibiotics to fight off infections nowadays. What about sanitation? Right now, if I want a nice glass of water, what do? I go to my tap, I turn it on, put the cup underneath, and I get drinkable water. You know, maybe there's a few chemicals in there or something, but whatever, it's not going to kill me. How much time would it take you to do that in the crap hits the fan, where you got to walk down to the watering hole, you know, you got to pre-filter it, then you got to filter it, maybe you want to boil it just in case. Of course, you got to, before all that, you have to haul it back. Disposing of your waste, you know, that's going to take incredible amounts of time. You can't just bring it to the curb and expect the guy to take it away anymore. It's going to take you hundreds of hours to find a place to do with that. Maybe you got to burn it or something like that. What about human waste? You know, right now you just go and you sit in a climate-controlled porcelain bowl and you do your business. It takes you 1 minute, 2 minutes, maybe if you have your smartphone, half an hour. But to do that, what are you going to have to do? You're going to have to dig a outhouse hole, probably in your backyard or somewhere. And that's going to take a lot of time. And of course, you're going to have to maintain that. And it's going to be a lot less easy than just, you know, walk into the washer. So everything is going to be more challenging. Every hour that you invest right now is worth at least 100 hours if these lights were to go out. So while you are wasting your hours, because we all waste our hours, but some of us do it more than others. While you are wasting your hours, be it maybe you're just on a YouTube downward spiral, a marathon where you're going from one video to another. Maybe you're doing something more malicious like trolling videos or gossiping about other people. You could be doing a lot more with that hour that is constructive for you. And as a guru of mine, Eric Thomas, always says, everybody has 24 hours in a day. You know, the poor man and the rich man both have 24 hours in a day. And you have an option as to what you want to do with that time. But don't complain if you waste your time doing sweet dick all that you don't have anything at the end of the day. Because you chose instead to go and heckle all the people who were trying to make something better themselves. Imagine it this way. There's a big pile of rubble and there's gold in the rubble. You got some people who are trying to, you know, sift through the rubble to find the little nuggets of gold. And you have other people on the sidelines who are complaining that these people are doing this or trying to figure out everything wrong that they're doing. And then when somebody finds a gold nugget, you know, they're going to be right there protesting them. Oh, why do you have that and we don't have that? Well, you've been sitting there on the sidelines bitching and complaining for, you know, all your time. You know, it just frustrates me so much that there are billions of people banging on the door of Western civilization to try to have the opportunities that people just piss away and bitch and complain at every possible turn. You know, this is why there's no men anymore, because it's just a civilization of boys raised by people like Jake Paul who, you know, have this entitlement mentality where they don't understand the value of that hour invested. You know, and the irony is that they have it better than anybody else in the world. Simply being born here in Canada or the United States puts you, you know, many tiers above in terms of, you know, material prosperity than other people in the world. And that's why you have people like Filipino people, for instance. They come over here, they work in Tim Hortons, they always have a smile on their face. They're always grateful that they have a job. And then you see the same disgruntled teenage kid, you know, who doesn't give a shit, you know, is totally, doesn't appreciate the value of the opportunities that they have. So instead of wasting your hours on mindless shit and then complaining that things aren't the way you want them to be, get off your ass and do something about it while the getting's good. Because quite seriously, if the lights go out, that's it. There is no more opportunity. And you're going to be praying that you had even 1, 2, 3, 4 of those hours. I mean, think about it. Every hour is opportunity. You can go out down the street, try to find somebody's grass to cut, you know, make 20 bucks. Put that 20 bucks somewhere, put it in a savings account, invest it in food, in long-term food storage. You could do that. You know, there's money to be made. There's opportunity everywhere. It doesn't even have to just be money. You know, I mean, if you want to build a skill set, like a friend of mine who makes bows, you know, he spends the majority of his time trying to hone that craft, even though it's replete with failures, ongoing failures, but he's getting better. He's improving at it to a point where someday he's going to be a master bow maker because he put in all that time and effort. Now, that might not be the greatest example because it's a more primitive form of technology which will probably be needed in a post-collapse situation. But almost anything you can imagine is better right now. So if life ain't treating you well, you're probably not treating your life well. And I know some people are going to say, oh, well, you were born from a place of privilege. And, you know, no, I wasn't. Like, you have no idea the shit that I've had to go through. I mean, it seems like I've never went through any shit, maybe, because all you see is the finished product. But I can tell you that I was buying groceries when I was 12 years old with my own money that I went and worked for, you know, and things were not good. I mean, if you have several hours, we can get into that. What made me the person I am today. And I'm by no means even remotely close to where I should be, in my opinion, because now that I've appreciated the value of my time, now that I've realized just in the past few years that, hey man, you know, we have it really good. You know, call society as messed up as you want it. Yes, culturally we're deteriorating, morally, ethically, in all these ways. And in many ways, people are being more and more dumbed down nowadays. Regardless, things are, from a material point of view, much better. Technology has made our lives much more livable. Without that gasoline, without this power, that's it. You are going to be out there toiling in the hot sun for 100 hours for what you could have got when the getting was good in 1 hour. That's the end of my rant today. Hopefully this recorded, because if it didn't, then you might never see this, but let's hope you do. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That is the 1 to 100 principle of survival and grid down preparedness. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.